Welcome, I'm Bev Adams. I own an independent paper crafting business showcasing products from Stampin' Up! I made this pretty card with products from Stampin' Up! I sell these products and also a few items to make crafting more convenient. I have the free detailed directions for this project on my website. You'll be able to just click the links for the products that you'd like to be taken to my online store. You'll see where to find all of that at the end of this video. So don't worry about taking notes. It's time to put stamps, ink, and paper together. My card base is Bumblebee. It is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of Whisper White that is 5 1/4 by 4 to go on the inside. A piece that same size in Crumb Cake. My ink is Crumb Cake. And then you can use any variety of ways to color. I've decided to use Stampin' Write markers. And strangely enough, these come from each of the color families. All of the color families, this is easy, but if not, you can use you could use the colored pencils, you could use the Stampin' Write markers that you have in other colors, you could use the Stampin' Blends, whatever you want. And I'm going to be showing you a technique using the Stamparatus. There are actually several stamp sets in the annual catalog that are listed Hinge-Step. One of them is Whiskey Business, Today's Tile, and you can see how nicely it does with double stamping here. Borders Abound, Pattern Play, and Palette Thoughts. And actually on Borders Abound, they actually kind of show you how they used, I believe it was these two stamps together, alternating them on the steps. Again, this is called Hinge-Step. I'm going to stamp the inside greeting and every thoughtful thing you do. I'm going to stamp this in the middle of the card. And I guess we might as well go ahead and put that in. And I guess we can go ahead and put the Crumb Cake on the front as well while we're thinking about it. And then I want to stamp my greeting for the front. As I said, I kind of wanted a large greeting. On my directions, I said to stamp 3/8 of an inch. Don't measure it. I just want a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch and a little less than 1/2 an inch, and centered in the card. Then I'm bringing in my Stamparatus, and I'm going to want to have this corner of the card in this corner where the logo is. That's just kind of where I place these. And I'm going to want my flowers about there. I'm going to be putting some ribbon across here, so I'm going to have space for the ribbon. And I am not going to put my plate here. I'm going to move this down 2 spots. I'm choosing two spots because this is a little bit more than, this is actually almost 3 spaces, but I want some overlap, so I want to have 2 spaces to move my plate up. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and then I'm going to pick that up. And I see that I'm off the edge, so I'm going to move this down a little bit here. And see how I'm doing now. Okay, so I'm going to just pick that up, and I am going to mark where this new corner is, so right there. And then I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to bring in a scrap of paper, literally a scrap. You could use a sticky note for this. I'm going to just stamp my flowers on that scrap of paper. And then I'm going to cut that out. Now I have actually already cut that out, and a lot of times I'll just keep these in with my stamp case so that I can have them next time too. And bringing this back in, and I'm putting that on the line and back at that same mark that I had. And I'm going to ink it up and stamp my flowers in the center. Then I have just a little bit of adhesive on the back, and I have put my fingers on it so it's not very sticky, so it becomes more like a sticky note. And I'm putting this over. Now when I cut this out, I think you'll see that the lines, I actually cut out my image just inside the lines so that there's a little bit less shadow. This little tiny gap is enough to leave a white spot around on your image when you stamp it. So I'm going to ink my stamp up again, and I'm going to move it up my 2 places. And then I'm going to move it down 2 and 2 more. When you get down at the bottom of the hinges, you have less to keep it stable, so you need to be a little bit more careful. Close it, stamp it. Then when I move this, I have the middle one that's kind of in front, and then the end ones are not overlapping because of the mask. And then I'm just going to color. As I said, you can use anything to color. I'm going to color these roses with petal pink. And I'm not being careful to color. I am trying to kind of stay in the lines a little bit, but I'm not doing any fancy brush strokes or anything like that. And I'm coloring these flowers in Bumblebee. And these are probably, I'm using Old Olive for the regular leaves. Then I'm going to use Mossy Meadow on the eucalyptus. Maybe I need the brush tip for this. Then I'm using these flowers. I think that these are Lisianthus, but I'm not sure. And then for these little flowers, I'm using Misty Moonlight. Just using really dots basically for that. And then because these are right next to there, I think I'm going to color these with Misty Moonlight too. And I'm going to call that done. These corners just glue on. So I'm going to get out 4 corners and one of the slides. But I'm just going up one side and over the middle bar and down the other side. And pull it toward the center. And then I'm putting adhesive on the sides. Actually, I might as well put adhesive all the way around. Now you might want to use a glue dot under the buckle part. So I'm just kind of wrapping this around onto the adhesive on the back. I do want to pull it tight enough so that it's snug, but I don't want it to be curling up too much here. But when I adhere this here, it'll pull it a little tiny bit tighter. And then I'm using multi-purpose liquid glue for these corners. I'm actually putting the adhesive for the most part on the bottom crumb cake layer, but I am filling in a little bit of this corner. This will not stick right away. It will take a while for it to dry enough to hold it. But once it is dry, it will hold it nicely. So I'm just going to set those on there. I want them even with the edges of the crumb cake, and maybe even a tiny bit beyond. And that is it. Here is the web address for this project, where you'll find the free detailed directions and links for the products I used. Just click the links and you'll be taken to my online store at Stampin' Up! Also on my website, you'll find a shop button. Under shop, you'll find products from Bev, shopping strategies, frequent shopper points, a link to my online store at Stampin' Up! When you click products from Bev, you'll find information about sharing my current products notebook in Evernote, and taggers. I started making taggers when all of those layering shapes came out, and it was so hard for me to figure out which one I used and how to tell somebody else which one I used. So I made taggers. Each tagger has the name of the dies, the item number, how many in the set, and each tagger has the size of that shape. I also sell my cardstock sampler, fine tip glue pen replacement tips, and large and small reclosable bags that I use for designer series paper, both the 6x6 and the 12x12. And I have a link for my friend's bow maker. Under inspiration, you can scroll my projects, look at the latest post, find out about the basics, which I've designed especially for new stampers, and techie tips. Under getting organized, you'll find links to stamp case slips, product labels, large labels, case inserts, ink refill cases, lots of coloring tools, a stamp pad storage solution for practically no money, catalog tabs, a quick reference, and a wish list with the catalog index, directions for my basic toolkit to go and my compact desktop toolbox. I have so many people looking for my Evernote current products notebook that I have a new tab just for that. You can find out how to share my searchable catalog. You can go to SIP Together and you can find out how to join my team so that you can either save money or make money. Thank you for stopping by. Talk to you soon.